It's been 6 years and you've done nothing. Not a thing to stop all the shootings that have continued to happen since.
Patricia and Manuel Oliver are traveling across the country in a converted school bus to share a new tool to advocate for gun control, the Shotline, which uses AI to recreate the voices of gun violence victims, allowing these voices to directly call members of Congress, urging them to take action.
I lost my son Joaquin. He was only 17 years. He was about to graduate from high school. He was preparing, he was visioning his life ahead of him when he was 17. He was taking off his human rights, his human right of living, of loving, of studying, of being around, of being an activist, because I'm sure that if he were able to make it that day on Valentine's Day in 2017, he will be the front line working to fight gun violence. So we have to care about the life, as you were saying, the precious life that we have. We have to appreciate it in our own. Why? How? Working hard to make this happen, to pass these gun laws.
The thing is, I died that day in Parkland. My body was destroyed by a weapon of war. I'm back today because my parents used AI to recreate my voice to call you. Other victims like me will be calling too, again and again, to demand action. How many calls will it take for you to care? How many dead voices will you hear before you finally listen? Every day your inaction creates more voices. If you fail to act now, we'll find someone who will.
The platform, part of a campaign by Change the Ref and March for Our Lives, aims to keep the stories of victims alive in the fight for legislative change.
Gun violence continues to plague communities around Massachusetts and around the country. The more guns there are, the more likely it is that people are going to get harmed by guns. And so our work is to make sure that we're doing everything we can, strengthening policies, investing in community-based solutions, and bringing folks together to say it's too much, this needs to stop. And at the Coalition, we see every shooting as both a crisis and a call to action.
And inside City Hall was the Museum of Incomplete, a display of memorabilia from victims of gun violence. These victims left incomplete ideas, ambitions, goals, and dreams behind. The museum collects incomplete artifacts in the form of songs, drawings, unattended events, text messages, and more.
We have to do something more because Amin and I deserved more than what is, and that him losing his life to gun violence at the age of 17. I should be having grandchildren at this time, going to basketball games and watching him live out his life and his legacy and future as I am standing here today. So people deserve to live their full potential. So we need more support on creating that by changing what's happening surrounding gun violence.
Since 1990, there has been over 400 school shootings, with the last one as recent as earlier this week, after 4 people were killed in a Georgia school. So the question begs to be asked, what can we do to stop the deaths and stop the violence?
What can we do to help end this epidemic? How can we actually think about how we are in fact proximate to it, understanding that over 50% of American adults know someone who has been victimized by gun violence in this country? What can we do? What more can we do? How can we persuade our politicians and our local Congress folks to do something about the fact that we are losing our loved ones by the hundreds daily?
Communities, lawmakers, and everyday citizens must come together to ensure that the precious lives lost are not forgotten, and to make certain no more lives are cut short by senseless violence. And for those affected and for future generations, the time to act is now.